Now, there's so many women watching as well right now because they are either married to a man, they have sons, they have brothers, they have family members that they wish that those men would catch fire for God. Why are so many men immature? Why is there such a lack of that mantle of manhood in this generation?
That's a great question, Pastor. See, inconsistency is a symptom, and inconsistency and immaturity are synonymous in today's culture. And men have not been trained. People accept Christ, and they don't understand that the very same bad habits they had before Christ, they're going to have after Christ. Now, there's a few of us where the Holy Spirit comes down and goes, you know, we hate them people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hate them people. But those of us, men deal with lustful thoughts. You know, the language of lust says, I want it now. The propensity of pride says what? It says, I deserve it now. And most men think that. They don't understand. They're actually lazy. For a lazy man is not one who does nothing, but a man who does what he wants, when he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, it is. And
bad all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again. A lazy man is...
A lazy man is not one who does nothing, but a man who does what he wants, when he wants.
And the world has adopted this belief that somehow to do what you want, when you want, that's some sort of manhood. And that's really the opposite of manhood, isn't it?
It's called adolescence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called adolescence. Yeah, it's called adolescence. And, you know, today we have things called adult bookstores. That's a misnomer. It should be adolescence bookstores because only insecure men go to pawn shops. You know, men who, gentlemen are truly strong men. Men who know how to elevate a lady and place her on a proper pedestal that a man should do. Yeah, men don't know how to do that.
In the world, which means that I think, guys are changing. Men. Now, they don't want, basically, there's loads of it here. I've noticed loads of it in this country. And there's loads of it where I live. And you look at them, and it just hit me one day very forcefully. They don't want to grow up because they're wearing children's clothes. You know, you see loads of guys, and they're in their 30s and 40s, shuffling around in t-shirts with, Zap or Pow or whatever on it. And they've got ambiguous length trousers. They're not shorts, they're not trousers, they're just these things that say, I don't want an executive position anytime soon, okay? I'm having a milkshake for about the next 10 years, stay the fuck away from me. And they hang around together with another guy, and they're not romantically involved. And they stay inside, these are men, remember, inside the house, playing video games. I think this is amazing. You know what I mean, bip bip. Bip bip, I don't understand the names of but world of bip. Bip bip bip. Milkshake, bip. Zap, bip 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 bip. A few generations ago at this age, they would have been dead by now. And they're going, Bip, dude, you got more bips than me. I am so gay. So, women are having children much later. Do you know the average age of a woman having a child in this country? Do you? 89 years old. That's right. Waiting for these fucks to grow up. Because what have they got to pass on to their children? Apart from watch out for the snakes on level 6.
A lot of men do not have much guidance. That men used to be raised by men on farms. And after the different wars, and then also with just from going from farms to going into, say, factories, that boys are being raised by women. Basically, they learn how to become men by women. And of course, all the schools are filled with primarily female teachers. So men have had that type of healthy support to guide them. So over the last, say, 100 years, a lot of men have become feminized. And so what has happened is that a lot of women who have actually compensated, where they've been able to take control of their body they're able to get careers, and that there's more rights for them. And so they have like kind of become more masculine, where they actually have careers, they're independent, and they don't need a man. But what has happened is that it's become very confusing for a lot of men because they don't know where they fit in that woman's life. And so a lot of business women, they'll complain that I cannot attract a masculine man. I cannot attract a man who, is, say, intimidated by my power or my money or something. But it has very little to do with the money or what that person, how much they're making. It has to do more of that this man doesn't know how to fit in this woman's life because she has it all taken care of for herself. And so if there's not this softness, this gentleness where he can feel that he can do something for her, or that she is inviting him in energetically, of course he's going to lean more towards, say, a masculine person, towards the woman who's more receptive and more feminine. And of course that woman who's a little bit more masculine will attract maybe more that artistic guy, that more flaky guy, the more Peter Pan type of guy. And of course I'm making generalizations, but what I'm speaking about is what I see on an ongoing basis with people I work with one-on-one.
Listen to Joseph Allen and Claudia Worrell Allen. They are co-authors of Escaping Endless Adolescence, How We Can Help Our Teenagers Grow Up Before They Grow Old. And they are the parents of 3 teens, right?
Yes.
Good morning. Thanks very much for being here. 70%, that's a crazy number. It almost sounds impossible. Does that ring true with what your experience?
Absolutely, and we're finding that young people, well after college are counting on their parents, not just for financial help, but young people say they're getting help with domestic chores on a monthly basis. They're just simply not moving.
So mom's doing their laundry too, along with living in the basement or
and
whatever else.
Money.
And what's wrong with this picture?
Well, we call it the nurture paradox. And that's the idea that parents have this strong, biologically hardwired instinct to nurture our offspring as much as possible. And in previous generations, limited time and resources kept that in check.
Right.
But now we're seeing parents who are focused in an almost unlimited way on nurturing their own offspring. And that may be okay with young kids, but with teenagers, it totally backfires.
Because in your book, you go back a couple generations, it didn't happen at all.
Adolescence used to last a microsecond from the time when some young person developed a skill and someone said, hey, that strong kid over there, get over here, get to work.
Help me build the barn.
Help me build the barn. And then they got sucked right into the adult world, and that's how they grew up.
Right. And there was no such thing, if you go back in the literature, about adolescent problems and teenage angst and all this other stuff. That's a creation of our culture.
That's something the last few generations, and it's gotten steadily worse with each generation.
So then these kids who are 27 years old and living in the basement and are totally dependent on their parents, what's wrong with that picture in terms of their own futures?
Well, in hard times in the past, when young adults or teenagers lived at home, they lived at home but contributed to the family, whether
Right.
by labor or income. And now we're seeing those 27-year-olds who are really living off of their parents. And that doesn't teach them anything about becoming self-sufficient, whether it's doing your own chores or getting your own job. And that's where they need to go.
I just need a couple tips then for parents if they find themselves even in the neighborhood of this situation. As a father, what do you need to not be doing to make sure that this doesn't happen to your kid?
Well, Harry, we dads are often the fix-it people in our teens' lives. Everything from car repairs to computer problems. And what we need to do is start passing those skills on. So we tell dads they should have an alarm bell go off in their head anytime they're about to do anything for their teen. And they should stop and say, can I teach my teen to do this for him or herself?
As opposed to doing it yourself.
I now believe that God desires for every father to courageously step up and do whatever it takes to be involved in the lives of his children. But more than just being there, providing for them, he's to walk with them through their young lives and be a visual representation of the character of God, their Father in heaven. A father should love his children and seek to win their hearts. He should protect them, discipline them, and teach them about God. He should model how to walk with integrity and treat others with respect. And should call out his children to become responsible men and women who live their lives for what matters in eternity. Some men will hear this and mock it. or ignore it. But I tell you that as a father, you are accountable to God for the position of influence He has given you. You can't fall asleep at the wheel, only to wake up one day and realize that your job or your hobbies have no eternal value, but the souls of your children do. Some men will hear this and agree with it, but have no resolve to live it out. Instead, they will live for themselves and waste the opportunity to leave a godly legacy for the next generation. But there are some men who, regardless of the mistakes we've made in the past, regardless of what our fathers did not do for us, will give the strength of our arms and the rest of our days to loving God with all that we are, and to teach our children to do the same. And whenever possible, to love and mentor others who have no father in their lives, but who desperately need help and direction. And we are inviting any man whose heart is willing and courageous to join us in this resolution. In my home, the decision has already been made. You don't have to ask who will guide my family, because by God's grace, I will. You don't have to ask who will teach my son to follow Christ, because I will. Who will accept the responsibility of providing and protecting my family? I will. Who will ask God to break the chain of destructive patterns in my family's history? I will. Who will pray for and bless my children to boldly pursue whatever God calls them to do? I am their father. I will. I accept this responsibility, and it is my privilege to embrace it. I want the favor of God and His blessing on my home. Any good man does. So where are you, men of courage? Where are you, fathers who fear the Lord? It's time to rise up and answer the call that God has given to you, and to say, I will. I will. I will.